Emotional literacy is a skill set that allows us to recognize, label, understand, and respond to emotions within ourselves and others, and appropriately express emotions with self regulation and empathy. Some learners will seem to have an innate sense of their emotions and know how to work with them internally and socially. Others will require more time and care invested in the learning process before mastering this critical life skill. With mindful attention on emotional literacy, every learner can grow, thrive, and benefit from strategies that tap into the executive functioning part of the brain to better understand the importance of our emotions. Students with high emotional literacy have been shown to have better quality relationships, are less anxious and depressed, have better mental and physical health, and perform better in school. Strategies that aim to utilize both emotion and cognition strengthen all parts of the brain to work in tandem, for you cannot have one without the other. Let's explore targeted strategies that aim to develop emotional literacy in early childhood learners, although these strategies can be adapted to meet any age and cognitive level. As with all strategies, cultural relevance and the individual learner should drive the direction and pedagogy for implementation. Identifying feelings is the first step toward developing self management, empathy, and social skills. It is important for kids and adults alike. While children experience many of the same emotions as adults, they do not always have the vocabulary or skills with which to recognize and label them. This can be frustrating for the child and can result in challenging behavior. The Center on the Social and Emotional Foundations for Early Learning recommends that adults give words and meaning to children's feelings and give them plenty of opportunities to practice to build their feelings vocabulary. Adults can say things like, "You're sad right now because you want to play with a toy and someone else is playing with it." Adults can also label their own feelings. "I'm excited about tomorrow's class party." Stay within the zone of proximal development by giving them words that they're already familiar with and then expanding on their list. Mark Brackett from the Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence points out that there are around 2,000 words in the English dictionary to describe our feelings. Most of us use just a few. Praise the learner for all attempts at talking about their feelings. Conversations about feelings can be embedded into every activity of the day, such as playing games, eating lunch, or riding on the bus. The more children practice, the quicker they will learn. One activity that Seffel recommends is to use feeling faces. Print out various faces that represent different feelings. This can be used as a morning check-in for the child to choose their current feelings, or can be used in a variety of ways throughout the day. A great class project might be to take photographs of the children making faces that represent different feelings. This makes it more meaningful for them and allows them to think about and practice how they express emotions. Taking this one step further, the class can discuss what physical sensations they feel with each emotion. For example, their heart might speed up when they're scared, or their face might feel hot when they're angry. Classroom-wide discussions can help children connect with their own feelings, but also recognize that their peers have feelings too. Empathy is a learned skill. It is not learned in a vacuum. To effectively foster empathy, we must create an environment that models, discusses, encourages, and reinforces this skill. It is important to remember that behavior exhibiting a lack of empathy is a skill deficit and is an opportunity for further development. Dr. Becky Bailey, the founder of SEL program Conscious Discipline, recommends making a We Care Center to teach children empathy. This center can be created with the help of the classroom and can include things like stuffed animals, Band-Aids, and Kleenex so that children can use them as props to help soothe their peers. What goes into the center is less important than the students learning to provide care and empathy toward others. Teachers may need to help with initiation and scripting to match the learner's comfort with utilizing this skill. Once they do, they will see that their own actions greatly impact the well-being of their peers. Oftentimes, the reaction from the peer is reinforcement enough, though adults should also follow up with praise and excitement while giving language to the empathetic exchange. Once children can identify the emotions in their body, they need to know what to do with them. Sometimes big emotions require us to pause and think about how we're going to react. Self-regulation is the ability to manage thoughts, feelings, and behavior. The bottom part of our brain is wired to always be scanning the environment for threats and danger. When the brain perceives stress, it releases chemicals, adrenaline and cortisol, that send a message to the body to prepare for fight or flight. As a result, the higher parts of the brain, the thinking brain, shut down. We can no longer access rational thought or language. The way we think about a problem can trigger an emotional response. Through cognitive thought, we can learn to detect when our emotions are rising and access the logical thinking brain before it shuts down. Knowing and practicing calm down strategies ahead of time will help children know what to do in times of stress. One evidence-based strategy that helps calm the brain and prevent the body from going into fight or flight is through yoga and mindfulness practices, including breathing techniques. Here are a few strategies to practice. Grounding. List 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel in your physical body, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Breathing. Try to extend the exhale longer than the inhale. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system and sends a signal to the body that you are safe. Once we have gained control over our emotions, we can then plan out problem-solving strategies using our thinking brain. The fundamental skills related to executive function include proficiency in adaptable thinking, planning, self-monitoring, self-control, working memory, time management, and organization. By teaching students to name their emotions and then reflect on them, we are working on strengthening executive functioning. When children have strong executive functioning, they can better regulate their emotions. Executive functioning in the brain improves emotional literacy. Setting up imaginary play areas in the classroom encourages executive functioning skills. The Center on the Developing Child at Harvard University suggests that imaginary play encourages children to plan and develop their own socially mediated rules. Children learn self-regulation skills that help them fit into these roles. Children will pull from their own lived experiences by reflecting on past events and then incorporating them into the imaginary environment. If they are encouraged to create their own props, they will find themselves thinking, adapting, planning, and organizing their environment. Take into consideration that our brains receive, process, and retain information better when we feel safe, connected, and calm. Only then will our nervous system allow the executive functioning part of the brain to engage. It is necessary to create an environment that fosters learning.